Welcome to Educational Ease, the podcast dedicated to providing educators with practical tips and insights to enhance their professional journey. I'm your host, Suzanne Keene, and I'm a retired elementary school principal from the American School Foundation of Puebla and a member of IBEN, which is the International Baccalaureate Educators Network, since 2010. And with me today is a very special guest, is Ms. Shannon Alvarez. And, Shannon, we've known each other for a long time, but could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, thanks so much for inviting me. Among being a great friend, I've been in education for almost 20 years. I've been a classroom teacher, been a school leader under your tutelage, and in my current role, I do some consulting, professional development, and training, as well as curriculum design in the area of early literacy.
Okay, perfect. And, I know the focus for our podcast is not this, but if you could just tell us a little bit about a very special project that you're working on right now.
I am working on a really cool project that is taking the principles of the science of reading and bringing them in really joyful, wonderful ways to connect with writing. So we're thinking about how phonics leads us to storytelling. And when I can share more, I will share it with you so you can share it with the folks listening.
Aye, perfect. I find this such an interesting project. Thanks for sharing that. And well, today, Shannon, we've been on both sides of the table. We'll be talking about this. We'll be diving into the IB evaluation visits and how to get the most out of these visits. So, Shannon, how many PYP evaluations visits have we had together?
I think we've done at least two or three together, and we've done both sides. We have received visiting teams, and we've also collaborated as school visitors ourselves.
Yes, we have, and time has flown. I know that we've experienced, as a school, at least two and maybe three. And our last visit was to Austin, Texas together. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Yeah, we ate really well. I think you had told me about that.
We had some good treats in Austin, that's for sure.
Yeah, excellent. And you remember these visits take about 2 or 3 days to wrap up. They pass by so quickly, but you actually start for the preparation of these visits several years ahead. And I'm sure you probably remember all the documentation, the meetings, the self-study questionnaire.
It's hard to believe when you get there, all of the land that you have covered getting up to the visit. There's so much that goes into it. We've talked about the experience being almost like cleaning out a packed closet or a garage, where the visit lets you get into every little corner of your institution. You look at teaching, learning, your documentation, your policies, your culture, your leadership, everything. And you see what you have and what you need and maybe what's time to get rid of. But there's also moments where you're looking at it all and you're thinking, how am I going to get this back in its place when you're done going through it all?
Yes, and I love that how you're saying it's almost like cleaning out a closet or a garage, and it also makes you feel a little bit vulnerable. There's certainly a certain amount of stress when visitors come from outside your school community to take a closer look at everything. And as you said, we've been on both sides of the table. We know that the stress that can be created. However, I would say the focus of the evaluation visits has changed. It's now more of a peer-to-peer review. And as a member of IBEN, I can say, and I think you feel the same way, that we genuinely seek to understand the school's culture and context as we conduct these visits. And I think it's important for schools to remember that these are not reauthorization visits. And as a member of the visiting teams, I can say that I also appreciate the trust that our member schools have, in opening up their schools to us and letting us be a part of their IB journey.
I agree completely about that element of trust. It's so important. The visits hopefully are a source of pride for schools. And as a visitor for any school, I find it really interesting to see how the PYP is developed, how it's interpreted, how it's put into place in every school. And I don't know about you, but I think we can agree that we come back with at least one thing we want to try out, and visits become a learning experience for the visitors as well.
I agree. And I don't think I've ever come back from a visit that I didn't learn something new or at least gain a different perspective. And it's fascinating to see how each school implements and develops the program. One visit, I might be in a French English bilingual school in Montreal, and then a week later, I might be a school in California that has mostly Hispanic students. And it's just so interesting to see the richness and the variety. And actually, now that I'm thinking about these visits, one of the things that the school does before the actual visit that's really part of the heavy lifting is the self-study questionnaire.
Oh, completely. Because sometimes it's just logistically complex to get everyone to the table to actually complete the questionnaire. Usually, schools are full of children, and the children are being taught by teachers and by all the members of the staff. So, getting together to actually complete the questionnaire is a feat in and of itself. But the rich conversations that happen are incredible. So, just even before you begin, coming to an agreement on how to score yourselves as a school, just defining the lens which you want to view yourselves is super powerful. And that comes before even beginning the actual questionnaire.
Right, and you're saying it's both powerful and complex. I agree with both of those words. And I think most schools are aware of where they are on their IB journey. They know what accomplishments they have that should be celebrated. And they also are able to identify areas that may be considered for opportunities for further development. And the self-study questionnaire, I think it really helps the school focus on these areas. And the process to complete this questionnaire, it actually creates its own energy or momentum. And I would definitely encourage schools to use this energy to move forward on addressing some of the opportunities that have been identified in the self-study questionnaire. You don't necessarily have to wait for the visiting team to confirm these opportunities. You can go ahead and start and with implementing different steps to address these opportunities and feel a little bit more proactive about the visit.
Oh, it's super important to ride the momentum that comes from preparing for a visit and then continuing to grow that momentum by getting volunteers, by making task forces, keeping those that communication between different members of the school community, trying out different ideas. This can really give a sense of being proactive instead of reactive, not waiting for a report
Mhm.
to be able to make choices and really feel empowered by that visit.
Yes, I agree. At a school I visited fairly recently, it's been within the last 6 months. The school had already made changes and seen improvements from the follow-up that was given to the areas that they identified as opportunities in their questionnaire. And I just noticed how proud they felt, how happy they felt, just like, oh, we've already started on this, we've had success with this. This one didn't work out so well, but we're going to try something else. And it was just really powerful to see them changing these opportunities into possible future celebrations.
I think you're bringing up a really important point, Suzanne. Sure, a visiting team wants to see the best version of a school, and we both know that schools focus a lot on the curb appeal of the school itself, the installations, and the instruction, especially during a visit. But when we meet with school staff and they share about challenges that they've had along the way, and as some of the successes that they're already seeing, it really makes the visit that much more humane, that much more real.
Yes, I agree. And that first day, everybody's so nervous. Even the visiting team's kind of nervous. I mean, we're getting to know each other. But after the first day winds down and everybody's feeling a little bit more settled, I always like to ask the PYP coordinator what they're noticing as the visit progresses. I always kind of compare it to my own experience of, inviting people over for the first time to our house. And I start to see my favorite places in the house and I also see where maybe we need to paint. Maybe there's some cracks in the wall or dust bunnies. I think it's the same with an evaluation visit to our school. Through the meetings, the tours, the classroom observations, perhaps we start to see different aspects of our school that maybe we haven't noticed before. And the answers that I get to this question are just so interesting, so rich. And I love hearing their perspective as they see their school through a visitor's lens. And coordinators have also mentioned as well what their teachers, after meetings, a lot of times teachers run back to the coordinator's office. They can't help it. And share what they're hearing, what they're picking up in the meetings as well.
Oh, absolutely. When the teachers can come to conclusions from the conversations that we have and the questions that a visiting team brings that kind of encourages or makes them wonder and be curious about their school, their teaching, their organization in a different way, that is super. I consider those to be successful conversations.
Oh, I agree. And it's just so much more effective. You were saying this when they can come to their own conclusions. I mean, of course, the visiting team is there to help them to with this process, but when they can come up with these conclusions themselves, it's just so much more powerful. And speaking of conclusion, the conclusion meeting at the end of the visit, that can cause a little bit of stress. Most people feel a little bit, or most schools feel a little bit nervous as they go into the meetings, but the the focus of these meetings have changed so much so that I do feel it's a more positive experience.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. The conclusion meeting is really that opportunity for the visiting team to show gratitude and appreciation to the school for opening their doors, celebrating the growth and development. And I also think as a school receiving a visit, kind of confirming some of the things that you know or that you wanted the team to see and give you feedback on, and thinking about those possible opportunities that maybe you hadn't considered before.
Yes, and when you're considering those things, I think it's important. We talk about as far as the IB learner profile attributes, being open-minded. Being open-minded in this meeting is extremely important. Getting that warm glow from the strengths that are being mentioned, but also being open to opportunities for future growth. And these opportunities can easily be converted into future program development plans and be a cause for celebration in the next period under review.
Exactly. We always have to be looking towards the future. I don't know if this is good news or bad news, but our work is never finished.
I agree.
So continuous improvement can't successfully happen if we don't have that roadmap. I kind of like this as an overview on a road trip when you stop off on the side of the road to appreciate a beautiful view, and then you get back in the car and you keep going.
Mhm. And after the conclusion meeting and the community meeting had finished, there's this great sense of relief. And those 2 or 3 days for the visit pass so quickly. But I think if we really look at it, the true value of the visit lies in, okay, what are the next steps? What comes after the visit? And the momentum that's been generated from the visit can serve as a powerful catalyst for continued growth and improvement over the next 5 years for the next period under review.
I think we all know that you definitely need a weekend off to take a bit of a breather after a visit. But if the school can really harness that momentum, really the next evaluation visit is even more successful because the school has really been moving forward. They have not stagnated in any way. They've been proactive from visit to visit.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Shannon, as we wrap up ours and come to the conclusion of our podcast today, any other words of advice you'd like to give our schools to that are maybe have an upcoming evaluation visit?
In the work that I'm doing now, we talk a lot about joy. So really leaning into the joy of a visit. This is your moment to shine. It's a moment to really look at what you do best and feel great about it. And then also to get ideas about where to go next.
And I agree. And I'd like to add to that, and I think you might have mentioned this earlier in the conversation that being honest and open with the team and sharing your struggles as a school and the challenges that you face and how you're addressing these, if you can make yourself, let's say, vulnerable and open to getting the feedback and feed forward, this could support you as a team. And I always like to, one of my last questions that I ask, I say, the next period under review is going to come, it's going to pass quicker than you think. 5 years will pass and another visiting team will be here. What would you like to see have happened, for this next visiting team? What would you like to celebrate the next time around? And their answers are, I think, if you start reflecting on this, your answers can really help guide you as you move towards the next period under review. Shannon, as always, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Not only have we worked together for many years, but we're great friends, and I just really appreciate you joining me today. And I hope we can do another visit, maybe back to Austin.
I'll go wherever with you, Suzanne. Thanks for having me, and I hope you have me back here on the podcast soon.
Okay, thank you so much again. Thanks for listening to Educational Ease, where we provide educators with practical tips and insights to support their educational journey. Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences with us on LinkedIn, where this podcast will be published. Thanks to all educators for the hard work you do and for your dedication. See you next time.